You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
So there's a big news story today. Now, unless you're in Florida, the big news story, of course, is Ian is coming and batten down the hatches and get the hell out of Tampa. And our thoughts and prayers are with all the people down there. There's also a lot of comic creators down there. There's a lot CGCs down there. So our thoughts and prayers are with the people in Florida and Tampa specifically. But of course, the big news is Ryan Reynolds came out on social media and said basically that Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3 and gave a release date of September 6, 2024. That's just breaking the internet. That's huge. And yeah, we are a comic talking show, but that's huge. So, but the other big thing is Marvel had 3 other movie slots left open after their Phase 5 and Phase 6 announcements. And that wasn't one of them. So there's still 3 more Marvel movies that haven't got announced. All right, let's put that aside and talk comics. In Stores This Week starts now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to In Stores This Week. I'm Dan. That's Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle is in the ether. He's working the board for us, but he's got a lot of things to get done, so he will just be producing and not on the show this evening. So unless we say something to really piss him off, and then he'll probably pop up. But, we can dream. So how's everybody doing tonight? We've got a good audience already. We got Cool. We got John. Gonna talk some comics tonight. We got a good lineup. How you doing, Jay?
Oh, pretty good, boss. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Nice hat, by the way.
Thank
Went
you.
for the Superman hat.
Yeah.
So with that, that could be Superman, that could be Supergirl, that could be the House of L.
I tend to tell people it's Superboy just because the red and black.
There you go. That's a good point. So, did you get a chance to read all the comics this week?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you got your notes?
Yes, I do. I'm going to need a new binder soon.
It is so funny because Jay here, he's so diligent. He takes notes and I wing it. I read the books and then sometimes Monday night, sometimes Tuesday. And then I let Jay start talking. And once he triggers in what the story was about, then I can talk about it. But yeah, notes. I never took notes in college. I don't know why I would start now.
Thank you for saying that that's diligence and not the fact that I just can't remember anything.
No, that's definitely diligence. Okay. I mean, you are 40 now, so the mind, the memory is the second thing to go.
Yeah.
So
can't remember the first.
Oh, ask your wife.
Oh goodness! Wow, what's the first book, man?
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Just real quick, what did you think of the Deadpool announcement?
Oh, Deadpool is a character I have loved for years. I was the person that was scouring the internet back in like 2014, 2015, and I found that grainy cell phone footage of the test animation, and then it got released, and then they decided to make the movie based off of that. I love it. I love Hugh Jackman. I was one of those people when I was a kid that when Hugh Jackman first got announced, I was like, he's too tall and he's too pretty. But he grew on me, and I know eventually he's going to get recast, but I just can't see anybody else playing him now. But I'm super excited. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I read the deadline announcement for the show earlier, but then I went out and watched the video, and the video is so fun. And just what a good press guy Ryan Reynolds is. To put all that together, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
So But also, I love the logo. I mean, you knew it had to be coming. The fact it's Deadpool 3, you knew it had to be with the claws through it. And it was just, it was like, mwah,
Yes, beautiful.
perfect. So coming hewn.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first book of the evening, which is, according to the list, Vampirella Year One. This, of course, is by Christopher Priest. And it continues the story from Priest's run on Vampirella, also what was going on with Draculina, which I didn't know was going to be included in here, but that popped up. So there was a lot going on in this book, but it was pretty damn crazy. I'm having a hard time keeping track of everything and the age difference jumps and stuff like that. And I'm still a little uncomfortable with the amount of nudity there is for a character at the time is supposed to be underage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 16 at one point, much younger at another. That just disturbs me.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Now, Priest seems to be doing something big here. He's tying in other series. He's reworking Vampirella's origin, which has always been confusing. I mean, there's two separate origins. She's the daughter of Lilith, or she's the daughter of Draculon. And they're kind of putting those two together now to create this new thing. But it is really all over the place, isn't it? What do you think?
Well, first of all, it looks like there was there a new artist on this one? Because that art looked completely different.
I believe so.
Okay. And I'm just confused. Like I want to get into this book because I am a fan of Christopher Priest. I loved his Black Panther run. I loved when he wrote Quantum and Woody, and I was pretty sure he was co-creator of those characters, but I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Vampirella, or at least this version. And I don't feel too bad about being confused because after we read issue 2, John Cole on Comics Collectibles said he was confused. So if John Cole was confused about that book, I don't feel bad at all for being confused because he's like the ultimate Dynamite Vampirella fan.
Yeah, the artist on this is Ergun Gunduz, and I believe he was the artist on Priest's run on Vampirella. But he wasn't the artist on the Vampirella Dracula series.
Okay.
Which is also part of this. And yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you're a big Vampirella fan or a big Priest fan, you guys probably are loving this. But if you're more of a casual Vampirella reader, it's kind of confusing. So...
And I haven't yet, John. He asked if we read his Deathstroke run. I have not, but now that you said that, I will definitely look into that.
Yeah, I'm a big Priest fan. I think he's a great writer. I think he may be trying to do something too big here in concept. You know, I don't know. But I look at everything else he's done, it's been great. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this will all come together, but right now it's kind of confusing. So,
yeah, a little bit.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to another Dynamite book. We got Pantha number 5, and this is wrapping up the series. I believe we've read all of the other issues before. We may have missed number 4, but I think they just are coming very far apart.
Oh, okay. See, I thought we only read 2 of them, but then again, my memory's garbage.
It's a very slow-paced series.
Yeah.
Now this, of course. Oh, go ahead.
Well, just this issue, I just feel like I've missed so much, or maybe they are just that far apart because I was like, how did they get here? Like, what is? And you know, I get easily lost anyway. So when I jump an issue like that, I'm like, I know my notes aren't very good, but they're notes nonetheless. But all I can say about this one is this was a story I read. It felt like a passing of the torch kind of story, like one person giving their power to another, and that's going to continue on. But outside of that, it just feels like I missed a ton.
Yeah, this comes from Thomas Snigoski and Janine Atkinson, and its artist Daniel Main. And Tom has been writing Vampirella and this universe for a long time. He Vampirella Strikes is the book he's doing right now. Before that, he did Vampirella. What was the other Vampirella series? Not Vampirella Unleashed, but it had a long run at Harris, and then they did it over here as well. But yeah, he knows these characters. He knows this universe. Pantha, this is the wrap up of the series. So if maybe wait for the trade if you haven't jumped on this yet. But I thought they wrapped it up all right. They kind of put Pantha in a new status quo, but we're not quite sure exactly what that's going to mean. I do remember reading issue 4 because I remember all the gods, the smaller gods that they were gathering together, getting captured. Vengeance of Vampirella. Thank you, Preston. That's exactly what I was trying to remember. So yeah, Tom does Vengeance of Vampirella both at Dynamite and previously at Harris. So I think this is a good story, but it came out so far apart that anytime we sat down to read it, it was like, okay, what the hell happened? Yeah. And they've got the little what happened thing on the inside cover. It just doesn't really cover a lot of information.
Right.
So if you're a Pantha fan or a Vampirella fan, I'd recommend picking this up in trade if you haven't been following the series. But it is a good ending to the story. So, you got anything else on this, Jay?
Oh, no, but I mean, you make a good point with picking up a trade. It's one of those things that I bet if I went back and reread it, I probably wouldn't be as confused. But it's kind of like, we get a new issue whenever it came in. Well, then we'd have to read the previous issue if we wanted to understand what was going on. So, yeah, I think getting this in trade form would probably be better for me at least.
Okay. All right. Before we move on, when you guys hear, can you do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons? We want to kind of get those numbers up, start building the page more, building the site more. So anytime you guys can subscribe, if you haven't, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up wherever you're at. It would be greatly appreciated. And tell your friends about us. We've got our mailing list. We've got our members only stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got a couple of members in the chat right now.
Yeah, both John and Preston are members of our members only area. Sean's not, and I got to worry about Sean. I mean, but hey, I can't have everything, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to our next book, and that is Briar number 1 from Boom Studios. And Boom put out an announcement earlier today that this book has sold out at the distributor. Now, this doesn't mean that when you go into the shops tomorrow, there won't be any. This means that when the shops run out and they call Diamond's not going to have any. They've sent out all their copies. So they are going to do a second printing. This is a pretty popular book. It comes from Christopher Cantwell and Herman Garcia. Herman Garcia are the creative team on this. I love the concept, John. I think that it is a neat idea. It's kind of, I want to say post-apocalyptic Sleeping Beauty, but it's not the post-apocalyptic we think of when, we think of that. It's not Mad Max or anything like that. It's more of Mordor. What happened to the Southlands when they became taken over by Sauron? They became Mordor. This is kind of that feel. Briar Rose, the woman on the front cover, is Sleeping Beauty, but the one thing that changes is the guy that marries her decides not to wake her up, and the story goes from there. And it really takes a different spin on Sleeping Beauty. So from that point of view, I thought it was really good. I thought the story was a little slow and a bit confusing. They could have made things a little clearer. I thought the art style was really unique, but I don't know. I guess I think it added to a bit of the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is a pretty interesting book. I was surprised because you start thinking it's going one way when you find out she's basically Sleeping Beauty. And then when it shifts and suddenly you're in this completely different setup, it's like, okay, this is all new.
Yeah.
This is all completely new stuff. So, yeah. What about you, Jay? What did you think?
Well, the first thing, again, that I noticed was this art is like old school storybook, like from when I was a kid. Kind of like maybe a little watercolor, at least pastel colored in the beginning. And then I realized, hey, I'm reading a Sleeping Beauty story. This is, it's super familiar, but it's definitely a lot bloodier. Then we have, like you said, I want to say it's still the spinning wheel, but I can't remember. She pricks her finger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then she's out for like 100 years because the guy, you're supposed to come in, save the day, kiss the girl. She wakes up, live happily ever after. Well, he was like Dan said, why do that when I can just marry her while she's asleep, never have to bother with it? And then 100 years later, somebody breaks through all the, the thorns and everything that are surrounding her, and for whatever reason kisses her and just like bounces. And when she wakes up, she's all emaciated, and the story gets kind of crazy to me from there.
Yeah, that's pretty much where the story starts.
Yeah. So she goes to this tavern, and she's trying to tell people that she's a princess. Well, she's been gone 100 years. That kingdom doesn't exist anymore, probably. So the bartender tells some other folks walking in, hey, you could probably make some coin selling her slave trade. The part that I really enjoyed about this book, and it's so silly to me, but I still enjoy it, is you have that person in the dark shadows that steps up and is like, leave her be, or whatever they say. And they're like, what did you say? And they're like, leave her, and they're immediately knocked out with a stool. Instead of saving the day, the person that was going to help just knocked out cold. So they're both taken away. And I don't want to give anything else other than that. This book wasn't what I was expecting, and I enjoyed it.
John asked if we would recommend it, and I got to say, I recommend if you're at the shop, pick it up and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the art, go for it, because I think the story is compelling. It's unique. I mean, we find out early on in the narration that the regular narrator has been killed, and she's narrating herself, which is just almost Monty Python-esque, but it's not a comedy. So Jay, would you recommend this?
I would. If anything we said about this book seems interesting in the slightest to you, I would, give it a shot.
All right. So, okay, that's Briar. We are going to move on to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. Yes. Oh my God.
I don't. You go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
I got to be honest. I didn't watch these growing up. There were some episodes. I mean, they came out when I was a teenager and stuff like that. And I know these things have been around for frickin' ever.
Yeah.
And I've got friends who've worked on the series. I got one friend who's written for the series, another one who drew monster concepts for them.
Wow.
All of that aside, I so could care less about the Power Rangers. I usually laugh at them. That said, this episode was pretty good. Her issue was pretty good. It brings in a lot of different Rangers. It puts them in a very unique situation. Basically, it's Rangers versus zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the zombies are Rangers. But it also kind of completes the story arc from Jason, who I believe was one of the original Rangers all the way back when they first appeared in the U.S. I mean, I saw some episodes, but I didn't watch it regularly.
Original Red Ranger, yeah.
Yeah, the original Red Ranger. So that's kind of interesting. And, it's Tommy, it's Trini, it's the Rangers you recognize, but also a lot of Rangers that have come along later on. So, yeah. I think the art in here is really good. I don't remember who the creative team is on it, but I can bring that up. Yeah, I mean, they do seem to change art occasionally on this.
Mm-hmm.
But the creative team here is written by Ryan Parrott, illustrated by Moises Hidalgo, Marco Rena. So there's only 2.
Oh.
Surprised by that. There's like 4 colorists, though. And there's guest artwork.
Ah, okay.
Francesco Mortarino, Dan Mora, Daniel DiNucleo, Eleonora Carlini, Miguel Mercado, and Henry Procetta. So, and it's lettered by my old friend Ed Dukeshire. So,
wow.
I thought it was a good book. If you are a Power Rangers fan, definitely grab that.
Yes.
Okay. It is definitely a worthy of 100 issue book.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay?
I want to say this because the rest of it gets a little heavy, but the beginning of it, it's kind of like cheesy goodness. And I say cheesy because they still yell things out. They yell out attacks. They yell out it's morphin' time. They do all that silly, cheesy stuff. I thought it was a great story. Great action. And, it gets pretty heavy at the end, not only with Jason, but there's some other things that happen. But, man, kind of like The Simpsons. I never thought, Simpsons, Turtles, all that stuff, I never thought when I was a kid that I'd be in my age now where these folks are still around. Like Turtles, I could see. But things like The Simpsons or Power Rangers I thought was just like a cheesy fad when I was a kid. I never knew that it was going to spin off into like 8 million different shows, But I'm just saying, if you're a Power Rangers fan, yes, you should definitely pick this up.
All right, Power Rangers side story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the LA Convention Center for a Comic-Con. Show wraps up. We all go out for dinner. We do this, baton death march for miles to find this place. We get there and there's a wait because everything is a wait. But they say 20 minutes. And we're like, all right, we can stand outside for 20 minutes. And we're standing there. There's this guy standing next to us, just a small guy, but older. And one of the groups I'm with, they're basically a bunch of actors I'm with. And one guy looks over at this guy and goes, "Where do I know you from?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "I know you from somewhere, but where?" He says, "Your face looks really familiar." He goes, "Do you watch Power Rangers?" Guy goes, "Of course." He goes, "Picture me in a glass cylinder."
Oh.
So yeah, we're standing there and there's the actor who plays Zordon. So a couple of us ran over and we got pictures with him, and I did too. Because, I know who Zordon is. Like I said, I didn't watch much, but I knew who Zordon was. So I have a picture of myself with Zordon. And, yeah, so that was just kind of a weird little side story, but I guess he was at the convention too. But,
That is awesome.
yeah. So nice guy, by the way, super nice. Talked with us while we were waiting, hung out, and then he went and got his table, and then we got our table. But real nice guy. And I love that when you meet people who are famous or, and then they turn out to be really nice people.
Yes.
So
that is so great.
Okay, let's move on to our next book. Now, this one's kind of a tough one because it's a trade paperback. And I grabbed it and put it up here because Zach Kaplan is a really good writer. He has done a lot of great stuff. Eclipse is the one that comes to my mind. He's got that Breakout. Yeah, he's got Breakout going on right now. He's got another book that he did with Top Cow. So, I mean, the guy is up and coming. He's doing a lot of these sci-fi based stuff. So when Top Cow sent out, hey, we got Metal Society coming out to trade paperback, I'm like, yeah, let's grab it. Let's put it up there to read. And then I didn't get a chance to read it because it's 140 some odd pages.
Yeah.
But Jay skimmed it. So yes. Jay's going to give you his thoughts. Me, I think Zach Kaplan is great. The art looked good. You should check it out at your comic shop. But Jay, tell me what you thought.
So, like Dan said, I skimmed this for time reasons, but I will probably go back and read this whole thing. I think Sean actually got a few issues of this, and he liked it. And like I said, after reading the little bit that I did, I mean, it's a future society where robots have created humans, and robots are now afraid that humans are going to take their jobs. And like disputes in this future are settled with fights. And now they're going to have a fight between this robot who wasn't really a fighter to begin with. He just didn't want to lose his job. And you have this lady, and I forget her name, but she's actually enhanced. She's an enhanced person. And the two of these folks are going to fight. Now, I haven't got to the actual fight. It starts out with them. It does her story a little bit before the fight, then him, and then they meet in the ring, and then it cuts back to her story for, I believe, the entire first chapter. And then the second chapter flips to his story. I only got about halfway through that one. But like I said, I can't wait to finish this. And Zach Kaplan is just on a tear. I have yet to read anything by him. And that might change in the future because I have few writers that are like that. When I first started reading them, I just loved everything. And then some of their stuff starts hitting and missing. But right now, Zach Kaplan he's great. He's great. I will definitely go back and reread this.
Now that I have it, I'm going to read it. But like I said, I just couldn't get it done today.
Yeah.
So, we got a full house tonight. We got Mark. We got Kenneth. Ed's here. So nice. All right. We're coming up to Kyle's favorite series, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Armageddon Game #1. We have been building up to Armageddon Game for the last few months. There were 2 prequels pre-game specials. There were books put out that highlighted the different villains that are going to be in it. And just they've done a really good job of setting this up, which is nice because there's 134 issues of IDW Turtle books. And that's a little deep to get into. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of trimmed it down to a manageable amount, gave you the backstories on what you needed to know, and they're giving us the Armageddon Game miniseries. And this, of course, is from writer Tom Waltz. And, what's the artist's name? Maybe your note idea is not a bad one.
Maybe I need to start writing down all the teams behind it.
One of my favorite artists' name, Vincenzo Federici. Ooh. Nice. He does a lot of work at Dynamite, too, so I'm used to writing his name down. But, I just love that name, Vincenzo Federici. He sounds like he should be a chef.
Yeah.
You know. So this episode, well, let's have Jay. Jay, you go ahead and break it down,
Okay.
and I'll throw my thoughts in.
I'm going to preface this whole thing by saying this is not a fault of the book at all. This is me. When I started reading this, I was like, finally, it feels like we've read 2 or 3 pre-issues, and I was just happy to get to it. And then it was just more build-up. Not a bad story by any means, but I think it was to my detriment that I read those other stories. And the reason I say that is I am very much a trade collected edition reader when it comes to things like this. I think that my comic memory, like, I love reading comics. I love them. But I can literally read a book, put it down, and forgot what I just read. Like, it's bad. But this is one of those things that when the collected edition of this comes out, I want to go back and read the whole thing straight through, because reading this, it just felt like more buildup. But again, that's not a fault of the book. That's just how I read things. I'm very much if I like something after 2 issues, it's just trades. I don't collect issue after issue after issue. So I think for me personally, I do like this, but I think once it's collected, I'm going to like it even more. That's just my personal thoughts on that. It's good though. Don't get me wrong. It's good, and if you're a Turtles fan, definitely jump in on this.
Give me 1 second to check something here.
Okay. But like I said, there was it feels like we've read like 3 or 4 different issues that was like the build up to this.
It does, and we did. There was the issues, and then there was all the specials on the different people. This was pretty good to me, but again, it is a little slow because of the prequels or the pregame books. It did seem like we needed to get into the action. But then again, they're just playing like half of the football teams right now, which don't seem to bother to show up for the first half of the game. The NFL has cut back their pregame or their preseason so much that these guys, the offense doesn't know how to play right now, except for Miami and Baltimore. That said, it was a little slow. I thought some of the stuff was pretty interesting. Them wanting to get Krang. Is it Krang?
Yes, Krang.
Out of the alligator's body, which I have no idea because I always knew him in a robotic body. Them trying to enlist more help, bringing in the Foot Clan. I mean, there's some interesting stuff that happens that hadn't been addressed yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more build up again. And I think with doing 2 pregame books, we kind of should just get right into the action now.
Yeah.
So that's my knock against it as well. But we're seeing more of the Rat King. We're getting more understanding of what's going on. So I think overall it's pretty good. It just needs to move a little faster now.
Yeah.
So, but that's out tomorrow. It's a number 1. So maybe worth picking up either way,
Yeah.
And I think they have like 19 different covers or probably more than that. That's not even a big enough exaggeration. They have a lot of covers.
Yeah.
So
they do.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. This is a book that I did not like the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. And I only included it here because both Kyle and Jay liked it. This is Hard Eyes from Vault Comics. And I will say that I liked the second issue better than the first. Because the first issue, it was just another post-apocalyptic story with somebody with special abilities. And I don't know, I was kind of burned out on all that.
Understandable.
This issue, we get a big twist. That's Jay's look for understatement.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah. And we get backstory on her. And now that we get the backstory on the, Hard Eyes, it makes a lot more sense. So this book from Dennis Hopeless and the problem is I have my PDF files I get this from, and they're on the last page because I just finished reading them. And then I got to go in and go, what? Oh, Victor Ibanez is the artist. So Dennis Hopeless and Victor Ibanez. The art on this book is good. The monsters in it are very LSD driven.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get standard looking monsters. They're going to be wild. And
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. But this definitely takes a big twist. So if you picked up the first one and thought, there's not really much new here, give the second one a shot. It definitely brings it back around.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole book is.
Yeah, Sean, it does.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't recommend this on live, but if you happen to eat a couple gummies beforehand, it may not hurt. Jay?
Jeez. Well, first of all, just want to say what's up, Joey? Thanks for popping in, boss.
Oh, hey, Joey.
So, like you said, I really did like the first one. I really did. Starting this one, I was like, okay, this is going to be some kind of love story between Lupe and, oh my God. Never mind. That theory's out the window. First couple panels, maybe the page. I was like, what? Like it shocked me. I literally did not see that coming at all. I was just, what the hell? And then we spend the rest of the book kind of in a flashback that also time jumps during the flashback to different parts of Lupe's life that shows us, how she came to be like she is. Because I definitely don't want to spoil anybody on this because it's one of two ways. But I want folks, if you're interested in this, I'm telling you, pick this up. It's really good. I am definitely digging this book. Like I said, I thought this issue was actually better than the first, and I really dug the first issue. So I have no idea where they're going from here.
Yeah.
But
Sean, you're not the only one commenting from YouTube. Kenneth has, but John was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Preston was on YouTube. But they haven't commented in a long time. So,
and most some other folks are on. I think some other folks are on Facebook.
Yep. So, all right. So Hard Eyes, definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Before we move on, let me remind you guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and remember to sign up for our mailing list, and also check out our member services. It might be something for you, and we got some good members already, but we don't want you left out. So,
with that being said, before we get to the last two books,
3 books.
3? Oh, there's 3 books left?
Yeah, there's 2 of them online.
Oh, okay. You know what I haven't seen in a little bit today?
What's that?
Awesome commercial from Kyle. Kyle, would you mind playing?
Kyle, let's get the member services commercial.
Isn't it your job to run that commercial, Jay?
Well, okay, I can.
I mean, no, I can run it now, but you did all the other shows. So who's really dropping the ball here?
I think Jay is setting you up to run the commercial.
I know he is. I'm just giving him a hard time because I'm not live on the show, so I can't bust Sean's balls live. So
Yeah.
here we go. Hey, it's producer Kyle. If you like going places where the action never stops, like Las Vegas, the Caribbean, and Atlantic City, then you're probably not who I want to talk to. But if you want to surround yourself with amazing comic books and comic book content made by a devoted group of smart and funny industry insiders, the Experience Members Club was made for you. You can join the experience by becoming a supporting member of our YouTube channel. You get access to exclusive content that no one else gets, like members-only live streams, pre-sales, one-on-one Q&As with production staff, and other content that's exclusively for members. Plus, for a limited time, if you sign up now, you'll be entered into our giveaway of a slabbed comic book. Just call this 1-8... Wait, hold on. It's 2022. No one makes phone calls anymore. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen, or just visit the membership section of our YouTube page, and you'll be on the VIP line of the comic book buffet, baby. Look at the size of those perks. Join today, and I'll be saying, who loves you, baby? Me. The answer is me.
I only heard about this commercial after it was planned and about to be filmed. And I would love to have been in the meeting where somebody, I think it was JD, pitched the idea of doing a parody of a 70s Telly Savalas commercial for Vegas as our membership thing. Because most of the people... Oh, go ahead, Gal.
These spots ran into the early 90s. And in fact, when he pitched it to me, he sent me a clip of Jim Carrey doing an impression of Telly Savalas doing this commercial from In Living Color.
Which also ran in the 90s.
Correct. Like,
so,
the levels removed from the original commercials that we were when we came up with this idea is way further than it should have been. Let's put it that way.
I love this commercial so much. I love it so much.
Oh,
get used to it. It's going away soon.
Oh, I still have a copy of it on my computer, so I can listen to it whenever I want to.
I understand.
We'll just throw it in the damn Wickline show on Tuesdays for the hell of it.
No,
Right.
we have a new one that's even funnier.
Oh, God. Can't wait.
Coming, especially if you feel the way I do about commercials featuring the music of Sarah McLachlan.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me you have dogs in it. Or do you have creators with their eyes rolled up?
No, there is a burnt out Chevy Malibu.
Chevy Malibu?
Yes.
The car?
Yes. Or maybe not. It's written, it's recorded. We're still working on it.
Okay. Oh, can't wait.
But it might be the finest commercial JD and I have ever come. JD and I have been coming up with spots for radio and for the Experience now together for 15-ish years.
Wow.
When he was a creative director at iHeartRadio when I was there, and we would like go to lunch and just spitball ideas. So we've been doing this a long time. This might be the best thing we've ever done. Ever.
Or, hear me out, it may be time to bring a third voice into the conversation.
Well, I was going to say, or I need some of those gummies you were talking about earlier.
Fair enough.
Sean, again, that's going to depend on how you feel about the music of Sarah McLachlan.
Was it JD or was it you that put together the wild ass speculation video?
That was 100% JD.
Yeah, I asked him for it on Thursday. By the way, can you run that?
Absolutely. I'll be real honest. I'm super pissed that I didn't have.
Well, we know you did the sound for the donkeys at the end, Kyle. So
I'm real angry I didn't have a chance to make one
Yeah.
and put it in competition.
You still can?
You
Only
should.
because I would have used, there's a video going around TikTok of a woman who gets tased after mooning a cop. I would have probably used that clip.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead and make it.
I don't know that we could run it, but it'd be fun to make.
All right, let's get back to the books. We got a couple left to do.
Man, that was like the 8th time I've seen that, and I laugh every time.
Okay, so there are 2 books left. We got Man, Goat, Bunny Man,
right.
and Gifts, GFT 64.
Yeah,
So Man, Goat, and Bunny Man, this is the 3rd and final episode of the series.
Mm-hmm.
This is Joe Bruscia doing the writing, even though they do their normal committee of writers. And that's all, they a bunch of people get together, they figure out the plot, and then one writer writes a script. In this case, it's Bruscia, Tedesco, Franchini, and David Wohl. The artwork is by Jordi Tarragona and was really impressive. I mean, it's been consistent all the way through this book, and it continued to be so. This book is just as crazy as the previous ones. This is the Bunny Man basically has been captured because the Dogmen, who Anubis was one of, it's been prophesized that if they merged together, it would bring the end of the world. So, what is the Bunny Man's name?
Floyd?
Floyd is supposed to have sex with the Dogman's daughter, the Dogman King's daughter, and then they're going to have a feast on his friends. And when she kind of suddenly he doesn't want to have sex with her anymore. And his girlfriend's going, "Well, you mean you were going to be 4?" So there's a lot of inside stuff going on here, a lot of humor, a lot of just moments that you can't believe they said what they said. This probably is some of Joe's best writing, because he really has just kind of, speaking of eating gummies, yes, this book is just insane, and it continues to be insane. This has been Floyd's story, though. Yeah, but it's also a true love story between Floyd and Phil. Floyd and Phil. So it's a true love story, bromance story between the 2 of them. So,
yeah.
What did you think, Jay?
Yeah, I won't drone on and on about it. I think by now we all know how I feel about this book. It just does it for me. Like every time this is sent, it's almost like the Elvira book all over again. Every time I see this, I was like, oh, I can't wait to read this. I save it though, because just in case there's some duds in here, this one picks me back up. This is one of those things that even if neither one of y'all wanted to do this book on the show anymore and you still got copies, I would still ask you to send it to me because I would read it on my own time. This duo, I love this duo, and I honestly think maybe Zenescope should let Grim Fairy Tales rest for a bit, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the last book.
Yeah.
And do more stuff like this, because I enjoy this stuff a lot more.
I know where you're going with that, and I agree. This is just a really smart book. It's funny. It's way out there. It's not what anybody would expect. I remember talking to Dave, I want to say more than a year ago. I interviewed him for my show, or maybe it was on this one. And he talked to me afterwards about Man, Goat, and Bunny Man. They were about to launch it. And he was like, this is the best thing we've done in a while. You're going to love this. And he sent me a copy, and it was like, oh my God. It is just crazy. And I agree. This is cutting edge stuff for Zenescope. It's got all the sexual humor. It's got the violence, the fighting, but it's got the humor, and it doesn't need, a scorecard to keep track of all the players.
Yeah.
So I really like this series. I do recommend it if you get a chance to pick it up. If you don't and you need to wait for the trade because you didn't get the other 3 series, wait for the trade, but it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let's get to that final book.
I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead with this one. A lot of dialogue in this. Takes way too long to get to the point, and it's a shorter page count. It felt like a step backward from the book we read last week, because that shorter page count kind of helped the flow of the story to me. Man, it's just, for me, it's like, how can you say so much but not really say anything? I mean, it's just the panels are just like filled with dialogue, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't hit me. Like the only thing that I even liked about this one was the creature design, but even then they look like they had a stupid mustache that they're about to twirl at any time. I'm just not a fan of this.
Yeah. And the creature designs are pretty much Lovecraftian, just like everything else about this, including going to Innsmouth. Zetascope is diving hard into Lovecraftian horror at this point, which is funny because we did that a little bit with the Madness Over Wonderland and Call of Wonderland series, and I was going to do a third one that actually made H.P. Lovecraft a character. So they've played with Lovecraft before, but this is definitely them diving deep into that area. And I don't know whose influence that is. I don't know if that's Dave Franchini, who's writing the series, if that's David Wohl, who's new to the company, where that's coming from. I don't know if it necessarily works. Also, I've had problems telling their characters apart.
Mm.
And in this thing, you have Sky and you have Sam. And for the life of me, I don't know who Sam is. I don't know which.
The Musketeers?
No, the Musketeers didn't go on the vision. The blonde that goes with her and gets, sacrificed and all that, that's Sam.
Oh.
And I don't remember who that is. I thought it was maybe Robin, but it's not. So I don't know which character that is.
Me neither, because I'm trying to remember. So they had all those characters in there because it was the Musketeers. It was the I guess the witch that saved them in that other issue that we read. And then you have Sam, and then you have Sky.
Yeah.
But we only use Sam and Sky for like the big part of the book.
Yeah.
So what was the point? See, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what's the point of having those other characters in there?
Yeah, and I agree with Sean. I miss the older days of Zetascope. I'm not as big a fan of what they're doing now because they seem to be trying to do adventure books and heroic books and stuff. And I liked when they did more horror and more O. Henry type endings and stuff like that. I mean, Sinbad was a fun adventure book. And
Sean, remind me when I get done with here, we need to look up Sinbad. I've been wanting to get that for a while, honestly.
It's listed as 1001 Arabian Nights, Adventures of Sinbad.
Okay.
And there's 2 trades for it. But, this hasn't been working for me because I don't care about the characters. They seem very similar. We have a lot more time with, is his name Wong? Whoever the one who ran. What?
I thought it started with a Z for some reason, or Shang.
Shang. Okay. Shang, who runs the Arcane Acres. We get a lot with him. There's a lot of exposition in this book, like they're trying to set stuff up. But again, it's straight out of Lovecraft. it's the deep ones coming up. I mean, these character designs, all that. So I'm just kind of losing my my interest on the Grimm Fairy Tales books because it doesn't feel like Grimm Fairy Tales anymore. So, and maybe they played that out, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's time to put Grimm aside for a bit and, do stuff like Man, Goat, and Bunny Man and stuff like that. And that one with the cleanup crew.
No Guts, No Glory, or All Guts, No Glory.
All Guts, No Glory.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do. But all right, guys, that is our list of books for the week. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons before you leave. Also, check out membership services when you get a chance. We will be back tomorrow with a full lineup of shows. I will be on with talking about the latest episode of Rings of Power for the Dan Wickline show. After that will be Comic Collectibles with Rex and John. I haven't seen yet what they've got lined up, but it should be interesting. Then we have...
Let's see. Wednesdays should be...
Wednesday's Warriors.
Wednesday Warriors.
We have normally on Wednesdays we would have the comic slinger, Jesse James, immediately following Rex and John. Jesse is off this week, ironically driving into the eye of a hurricane.
Jeez.
And then Wednesday Warriors, yes.
Hey.
Okay. Is Henri on later or no?
He will be on Thursday.
Okay. I really don't know the schedule. I know my stuff, and
Joey's going to have Alan Dunford on, hopefully. Be good to watch that.
Very nice.
And yes, please check out those membership services because for less than a comic, and I type this all the time, and I truly, truly mean this. It's not facetious in any way. For less than a comic, you could keep me doing a job that I genuinely love. I love doing this. So please check out those membership services.
Wait a minute. You get paid?
Not much.
What am I doing with my life?
Just being an amazing writer, Dan. Come on.
Oh, my God. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up here. I got to go have an existential crisis. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night, Jay. Good night, Kyle.
Take care.